Awesome. Hey, what's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning in back today to the AO show. I got a special guest with me today. And today we're going to be talking about everything retirement. So, Jay, you've been in the business for a few years longer than me. I guess we'll phrase it that way. If you could, and you have a way different perspective than I do. I've been in the business 15 years now almost. And so I want to really hit home with you today on some of your perspectives. And in my most recent book that I came out with, the Red Zone Retirement Plan, we talk everything retirement. So we'll get into some questions here later, Jay. But if you could, just for a quick history, give me a quick background, Jay, for everybody, how long you've been in the industry, because I think that's important to know.
Sure. Thanks for having me on, Adam. This is awesome that you're doing this. Good information to share with the people out there. I appreciate being included. But yeah, I've been involved in the this business for more than 38 years, so a long time. And I mean, I love what I'm doing. I'm not slowing down. I'm still passionate about helping people, and specifically, as you mentioned, retirees. I kind of got my start way back in my few years out of college. My dad was actually a managing director with the Mutual of Omaha for a number of years. I think the last 17 years of his career, and I, like many sons, I swore I'd never get into this business. and so I did try a few other things, a couple other things right out of college, but about 3 years after college, I decided to do this, and here I am, 38 more years into the
Right.
business, and I've always kind of gravitated towards helping people that are serious about planning for retirement and trying to help educate people on helping them get to and through retirement. So.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, Jay, is because you have almost 40 years now in the industry, and it's honestly seeing how you interact with people in our business and hearing the client stories that you have. It's refreshing to see somebody that's 40 years into it, that you still have the excitement and you love the day to day, you love helping people. That's exactly why I wanted to have you on, because it's a breath of fresh air compared to some people who have been in the business 40 years and they're just sour. They just want to sit back and do nothing. But
Right.
it's super cool that you're still active helping people. And one thing in my book that I want to ask you on, I talk about purpose. And so I think what a lot of retirees think about is they think about what they're going to be retiring from, not what they're going to be retiring to. And so I've had a couple clients in the I'll say last 2 to 3 years who have really done that. They have a job, they don't really like the job, and so they're so focused on what they're retiring from that they don't really put any thought into what am I going to retire to? What am I going to be doing in retirement? What does my lifestyle look like in retirement? And I'm sure you've had these things pop up for you too, Jay. And so, how do you help clients think about those things? And what do you think it's key for people to think about before they enter retirement? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does, Adam. I think you hit the nail on the head. People spend their entire adult lives working towards their future retirement, and many people, most people spend uh, more time planning their vacations than they do for retirement.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, that's not uncommon at all. It's sad, but that's just the reality. So the number one thing that people worry about once they do get to retirement is if they're going to run out of money, and will we have enough money to last our entire lives? How do we switch from the accumulation phase of our lives to which can be 40 years or longer, and then switch to the distribution phase of our lives, which can be another 30 years or longer as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And I had, uh, I think last year I'd been on some webinar with Kiplingers, and they were talking about just yeah, people going into retirement, and it's different here in where we are in today's world. It's more people are refiring or rewiring, so they're not just completely retiring and sitting at home and watching TV and eating bonbons all day. They're it's kind of like life layering, and you're just entering a different phase of your life. Hopefully, you have some hobbies and things that keep you active, and family and grandkids and so forth. But yeah, people don't think about that, and that's where we people like you and me try to educate people on. Well, you got to think about what what are you going to do when you turn off that working
Yeah.
switch, and now you're what's your purpose?
Yeah. No, that's exactly right. And Jay, I don't want to get it wrong, but I know you're not retired, but you're later in your career. And one thing that I see you do that's awesome is those lunch and learns that you do with the people in your office. And so anybody that's, 60, 55 plus listening to this, I mean, you guys have such a wealth of knowledge, right? And to just retire or go into a phased retirement and not share any of your knowledge, I think is extremely sad to me. And so when I see you, I know you're not retired, I know you're still active, but somebody who's been in their career for a long time, mentoring those younger people with your life knowledge, I think that is awesome. I got to tell you that. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's. I mean, I always say I've had a lot of help along my way through my career, and I've never been afraid to ask for help. And so anytime somebody raises their hand to me or reaches out to me and says, "Hey, can you give me some guidance or help me?" I'm as long as they're serious about getting better, I'm always happy to give back because I've had a lot of help along the way,
Yeah.
and I know you have too. And none of us are where are at today in our careers by doing it all on our own. So
Yeah.
I love to help out and give back, and it keeps me sharp too. So
Yeah. That's exactly right. That's
yeah,
exactly right. It goes back to that purpose again. I think that's extremely important to hit a home on for people entering retirement. The next thing, Jay, that I wanted to chat about is this. What I found with a lot of clients, and I talk about this in the book too, but what I found with a lot of clients is they're used to that paycheck, whether it's monthly, whether it's twice a month, they're just extremely used to that paycheck. And one thing that freaks them out about retirement time, if they're not working with an advisor, is okay, I go from working my 40, 50 hours a week to work, and I go to working to zero. And I may have this huge pot of money. I may have this thing called Social Security. I may have a pension, but how on earth do I turn that into an income stream? That seems monumental. I mean, it's a huge problem for a lot of clients when they don't understand that. So mentally, Jay, how do you tell clients to think about let's turn your all of your assets into a paycheck, but then also how do you get them to mentally shift from that saving, we're saving up a bunch of money, to now we're spending down a bunch of money? How do you talk your clients through that? And how do you what concepts do you use to walk them through those things, if any, that you can think of?
okay. Um, and my I don't know if you can still see me or not.
Yep, I can still see you perfect.
Okay, all right. I just had something on my computer, but yeah, this is a tough one, Adam. As I've mentioned, people have spent their whole lives saving for retirement, and now they still need income, but it's not going to come from their job. Um, so some will come from Social Security, as you mentioned. A few lucky people will get a pension, but those pension numbers keep going down and down. In the past, a lot of people had pensions, but nowadays there's not that many people that have pensions. So, but what we're trying to do is just help educate people on the best way to supplement their income from their hard-earned retirement
Yeah.
nest egg that they built up. Um, and we help people figure out how much monthly income they're going to need in their retirement years to be able to do the things they want to do. I mean, that's why they worked, so that when they do retire, they can do the stuff that they want to do in retirement. So as I mentioned, we can consider pensions for a few folks, but um, do they have do they have any other income coming in from rental properties or any other business ventures they're in, or maybe they did pick up some kind of or plan on picking up some kind of part-time job just to get them out of the house a little bit. And we want their retirement income. I think you mentioned this earlier too. We want their retirement income to be guaranteed. And this means repositioning some of their retirement nest egg into basically guaranteed personal pension plans. And that money is going to help provide the balance of the monthly income that they need and guarantee it for the rest of their lives. And uh, the balance of their money then can stay invested, uh, and we're not counting on that for income, which is important, because we don't the last thing we want to do is withdraw from money that's invested in the market, and the market is down, for example, and you're doing the exact opposite of what you're supposed to do. When the market's down, you're supposed to be buying or adding money, and when the market's um, uh, uh, up, that's when you are selling. But if you're counting on money out of your invested assets in the market for a monthly income, and the market's down, you're accentuating your losses. And instead of you've heard, I'm sure a lot of the listeners out here have heard of dollar cost averaging, where you're taking advantage of ups and downs in the market as you put money in every month. Well, if you take money out while the market's down, you're actually what we call dollar cost ravaging. You're really accentuating your losses because, yeah, the market's down and you're drawing money out. So we want your we want the money that you need to live on to be out of a guaranteed personal pension. So that means repositioning money, and you can do this where you with different investment strategies. What we look at income for life models, where you might have a bucket of money that you can invest very conservatively, that you're not going to tap into for 5 years, and then you do tap into that, and it doesn't matter if the market wasn't that good during that 5 year period, because that was invested very conservatively. And then you might have another bucket that has a 10-year time horizon, and that could be invested a little more aggressively, because we're not going to plan on touching that for 10 years from now. And then you might have a third bucket that you can invest very aggressively, because you're not going to count on that for maybe another 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Um, but then
Is
we
that
can
is that what you
go ahead.
use? Do you use the income for life model, Jay? Is that what you're using?
Yeah, I do use the income for life model quite a bit. Um, and it just helps people, it helps prove to people that, uh, you know, there is a good way to plan your retirement income, and gives you a very, very, nothing's guaranteed 100%, but it gives you a very, very good opportunity to not run out of money, because you're using different investment strategies for your money, and not uh, that money that's invested, we're not counting on for income right now, but that's where we
Yes.
pick that up for future. Yeah.
Yeah, I talk about in that book too that I use the income for life model. I think it's an excellent tool to use. And I love the fact I like the conversation of the income floor. So let's cover your basic needs, think food, shelter, clothing, with the income floor, which is again guaranteed sources of income, right? Pension,
Yeah.
social security, annuity payouts, whatever it is. And then I also love the idea of everything above that we can cover with some variable income sources. So the idea is that we kind of got the best of both worlds, some fixed rate interest stuff and then some market exposure too, which helps us keep pace with inflation. And like you said, gives us a pretty good chance of success of not running out of money overall. And I think the visual is excellent for people too. So
Yes.
you can see that, hey Jay, you're going to get a guaranteed 3% increase in your income every year. Here's your monthly income that you're going to get, and you can have it years old. I think that's extremely comforting for people to see too. Because it is extremely scary for people when they go from shutting off their paycheck to start spending the money that they've saved over their lifetime. It is a pretty emotional thing. It's a big thing.
Yeah, it's a whole different mindset, Adam, and they're you know they feel they feel like they're losing control of their assets, but they're not. They're just repositioning them. I just met with a couple in the last couple of weeks, and we're going through this right now. Um, he worked for a bank here for you know 35 years, maybe even a little longer than that. And she had some different positions in healthcare, and she actually lost her last position unexpectedly, but they're at a point now where they've accumulated enough money that they can retire. But I was talking to him about this exact thing, and the wife understood the concept or embraced it more easily than he did, because he's like, I built up all this retirement money and now you want to take it and reposition it. And yeah, I need that, $5,000 a month income, but you're you're taking all my money and
Yeah.
putting it, in a different product. But that's what they need, because they
Yeah.
need to have that guaranteed monthly income to supplement their social security and his small pension that he's getting.
Yeah.
And so I could see it, the wheels kind of spinning in his head, and we talked about it more. And we're actually going to be getting together soon again here. But it's an education process, and it's just getting people to realize you can't do the same thing as you did when you were
Correct.
when you were putting money away. It's a whole different.
Yeah.
It's a 180 flip here, right?
Yeah. It's like offense versus defense, a little bit different strategy.
Yeah, yeah,
But that is a big mind shift for people. And it's nice to have advisors, though, that can be there on the same side as clients saying, hey, we're just shifting assets that you've saved. Why did you save them? So you can retire. Okay, you're
right.
retired, you get income. Like that investment dollars does no good of buying you groceries. The income that you get off of it is what you use, right? So let's turn it into some income.
Yeah, it's not that different than Social Security. Based on how much you earned, you had to contribute into Social Security, and obviously a higher earner is contributing more. But then when they retire and decide to turn on Social Security, they're going to get a guaranteed payout. And if they put away more money into Social Security, they're going to get a bit bigger paycheck. And it's the same
Yeah.
thing here. We're just it's your own personal pension.
Yeah. No, I like it.
Yeah.
Um, the next thing that I want to chat with you about is this, Jay. So in the past couple years too, I've had some clients that have passed away pretty young into their retirement, pretty early, like 3 to 5 years in their retirement. And
Yeah.
I guess maybe not a mistake, but when I've done retirement income plans in the past, I've kind of done that income for life model where we give you inflation and it slowly increases over time. And maybe I didn't give these people, these clients, the freedom and flexibility to be a little bit more, um, to have a little bit higher spending when they're younger, right? And so
Hmm.
one thing that we, in our industry, it's the go-go years when you're young. You're going to be active when you retire, and then as you get older, you're not going to be as active. You're not going to be as doing as much. And then you have the no-go years in your later retirement years where your only spending is probably going to be nursing home is going to be the big cost potentially. And so that's something that I've kind of been toying with. and kind of been having more conversations with clients is, early on is probably going to be your higher spending years in reality, right? So I
Yep.
don't know if you've yeah, I don't know if you've had any client situations like that, Jay, or if you can talk to that at all. How have you worked with that? Because you've been doing this a lot longer than me. That's just something I've kind of been struggling with lately for clients. So how do you approach that?
Yeah, that's again another great point, Adam. It's this is it's hard too, but we talk to our clients about this all the time, and as you mentioned, the go-go years is the first years of your retirement, the earliest years of your retirement. You're in the best health, you're going to be the most active, and that's when you're going to be doing your traveling and golfing and doing all the things that you wanted to do in retirement that kind of had set goals about. Um, so your spending is going to be the most in those early years of retirement, because you want to do those fun things that you had set out to do. And um, as Tom Hegna says, when you're in retirement, every day is Saturday. So
Yeah, yeah,
um, you got all kinds of time, and so you're going to be doing stuff, and so you're going to be spending more money. So yeah, you do have to when we talk to people about how much money you're going to need in retirement. It's a process. It's not. I always tell people it's progress, not perfection. We're not going to come up with that magic monthly income that you're going to need right out of the gate because you've never been retired before. So
yeah, yeah.
you might have, yeah, somewhat of an idea, but you don't know. Um, and no, but and until you actually live it, then you're going to see.
Correct. Yeah.
I just talked to another gentleman this morning that retired in June, and um, we moved over his 401k money and his wife's and so forth. And then a, a nice chunk of that we did put into a personal pension to give him some monthly income. And they just got done traveling for 2 weeks down to Tennessee and Florida, visiting family and so forth. And they came back and he goes, yeah, it seems like we're doing okay for income. We haven't really tapped into our savings. I was kind of worried because we've been spending money over the last couple of weeks. They just got back this weekend, and I said, well, that's what it's supposed to be. But the so yeah, we have to plan for bigger chunks of money in the early years of retirement because, like you said, sometimes, unfortunately, they
Yeah, it's
don't get
tough.
to enjoy a long retirement. I mean, uh, more and more people are going to have longer
Yep.
retirements, but not everybody's in the best of health, or something happens and then things change. So, and then when you're in that second phase, like you said, the slow go years, your health maybe not as good, or you're just slowing down, and you'll still do some traveling and golf and whatever, but not as much as you did. And then, as you mentioned, the last phase, you're really not traveling anywhere. People are coming to you. Uh, my mom is 90 years old. She drives around her little town that she lives in, but that's it. And we go out to visit her every weekend. And my
Yep.
sister, so you're not, unless somebody's driving you somewhere, you're not going too far. And like you said, that's when your bigger expenses are going to be things like long-term care and so forth. So,
Yeah.
um, but we have to plan for inflation in retirement, because many people will maybe one of the spouses, or it could be both, live 3 decades into retirement. And I mean, that's the ideal thing. And the value of the dollar today is not going to be worth what it is 10 years from now, 20
Right.
years from now, or imagine 30 years from now. So we do
Correct.
have the tools that can help increase your income in the future, for ongoing and upcoming inflation down the road. And I think
No.
long term care is I'm pretty passionate about that. That's something that it's the last thing that people plan for, because it's not a pleasant thing to think about.
Correct.
When you think about life insurance, most people are willing to, I mean, everybody's willing to talk about investments because that's
Yeah.
fun. That's the sexy stuff, right? That's
Yeah.
how you're going to make my money grow so I can retire early and blah, blah, blah. So everybody wants to talk about investments. Life insurance, I mean, everybody knows they're going to die at some point. So they're willing, not as willing as investments, but they're willing to discuss that and plan for that. Long-term care, nobody wants to talk about it because it's not a fun topic.
Right.
But it's a critical conversation that we have to have with our clients because if we don't have some type of plan in place, um, then they're putting a big chunk of their retirement nest egg at risk, and they're jeopardizing their income and their assets that they are or their family are going to be counting on.
And their
And
spouse, or their surviving spouse.
Yeah, yeah, the surviving spouse or other family members, but yeah, you can end up wiping out an entire retirement nest egg. So we have to have that conversation with our clients, and they have to at least make a informed decision. Yes, we're going to do something about this, or we're going to roll the dice, but at least make the decision. Don't just keep putting it off and off, because if you keep putting off that conversation or the decision will be made for you because you're either going to be too old to get it. It'll be cost prohibitive. By that I mean, or your health has changed, and then it's not even an option. So,
Yeah.
um, you know, I compare it to homeowners insurance. You have homeowners insurance, right, Adam?
Yes. Yes.
And you would not think of going a day without that.
Never second
Just
guess
in, Yep, just in case your home is destroyed by a tornado or a fire or whatever. Um, but the chances of that happening are very, very tiny.
it. Yeah.
But with long-term care for a married couple that makes it to retirement, it's almost 100% that at least one of them is going to
Somebody else.
need some kind of care somewhere down the road. So
Yeah.
the premiums are higher than homeowners because the likelihood of you using it are much higher. So
Correct.
um, yeah, it's really, like I said, that's our job as financial planners to uh, do the holistic planning. The investment stuff and planning for retirement is great, but let's also talk about things that might be a bump in the road or a big catastrophic event that could really affect your retirement that you
No.
planned so nicely.
Yeah. No, 100%, Jay. Quick question. Do you have a couple more minutes? What time do you got to get out of here?
Yeah, I have a couple more minutes.
Yeah.
I'm yours. So
I
yeah.
want to, you said something there that I think is really important, and I want to hit home on is the investments is the fun part of our life, right? That's what I enjoy the most. That's really where I get the most joy out of what I do on the day to day. But I think the difference you'll find in from an advisor that really cares into just somebody who wants to manage your money is the advisor who cares has those tough conversations with you about what's your plan for long-term care, Jay? What are you going to how are you going to leave your surviving spouse if something happens to you? What's your plan for your legacy? What do you want to leave behind? What is your purpose going to be in retirement? What are you going to do on the day to day? How are you going to give back to the generations coming behind you? I think those are the tough conversations that the great advisors who care will really have with clients. And I think that's important that you hit home on that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, I think, Adam, where I provide the most value for my clients is when they're going through life events, people getting married, people getting divorced, people buying a house, people starting to have a family, people changing jobs, people losing their jobs or getting downsized, or people retiring, or the death of a loved one, or a major illness of a loved one or themselves. And when these life events happen, people have to make financial decisions. And my job is to help take the emotion out of these decisions and make sure they're making sound financial decisions. Because when when these things happen, people are very emotional, and if they don't have somebody to work with like you or me, or you know some advisor that hopefully that they're working with, it's hard because uh, they're putting too much emotion into it, and that's where we come in, and we can help. I mean, it sounds sterile, but you got to take the emotion out of it to make
Yeah,
non-financial
you do.
decisions. And
You do. You
and
do.
and yeah, and as you mentioned, yeah, it's great to talk about money and watch how people grow their retirement accounts and get to the realization that they can retire, and you've been helping them to and through retirement. But we have to plan for the bad stuff happens to good people every day,
Yep.
and we
Yep.
all we all see it every day in our lives. Somebody somebody came to has cancer, or somebody had a heart issue, or somebody was in a car accident, whatever. And so um, that's that's where we um, I think bring probably the best value to our clients. And we just have to educate them on that. We're going to plan for all the good stuff that happens, but we also have to plan on the bad stuff that could happen. And as I always tell people, and I'll wrap this up here, but um, if we do, let's say we set up long-term care coverage for you and your wife, and you both live 25 years in retirement, and you both pass away in your sleep, and so you never use the long-term care coverage. Well, that's a small financial mistake. um, but if you didn't do this, and one or both of you needed long-term care down the road, and you didn't do this, well, then that's a large financial mistake. So would you rather make a small financial mistake and just giving you the peace of mind that if something does happen, you're covered, and not have to use it?
I
I mean,
really
that,
like.
yeah,
Yeah, I really like that.
yeah,
Wow. Jay, I got one quick question for you before we go.
sure.
So I want to know, and this wasn't on the list. It's kind of a surprise question here for you at the end. So
Uh-oh.
it is a personal finance show. So I want to ask you, spreading your information on to other people here. Name one one of your worst financial mistakes that you've made at some point in your life, and how would your of life been different if you would have been educated or made a different financial decision at that time? If you're cool sharing something with us. So I think it's powerful to learn from other people's mistakes. If
Yeah.
you've got
Um, boy, I I don't think I've made any like real major ones. I know early in my career, I uh, and I think this was probably it. I already had my 6 and 63 license, but I did not have my 65 yet. I wasn't a financial planner yet, but and actually, I probably just got my 663. So a couple years into the business, and I bought some individual stock stuff, uh, and it was everything else I have today is I own every product that I recommend to my
Yep.
clients, and it's all through this planning. But I went out and bought some stock or whatever, and of course, within a I don't know, probably 1 year, it was worth nothing or whatever. So it was just kind of like I threw away money there. I don't know. I guess I kind of, and I still have never done this. I've never uh, gotten into additional real estate investment, and I know people have asked me about that throughout the years. Hey, get a second place that you can rent or whatever, or do this or that, and I just never felt comfortable. I just felt always more comfortable doing stuff that I am
Yeah.
ingrained in every day of my life. So I don't think I've made too,
That's
too
awesome.
many
Good to hear.
financial mistakes. I mean, uh, we bought a house a year after we got married, so I didn't feel like we wasted a
Yeah.
lot of money renting or anything like that. Um, we funded all three of my kids' college accounts, and even were able to pay for my daughter's grad school stuff and all that. We were able to put away money for all their weddings or down payments for houses in the
Yeah.
future. And we're finally having my daughter's engaged now, so we finally get to use her portion or give her that.
Yeah.
Um, so
Well, you're a good example, Jay. Thank you.
yeah,
You're
I
a
don't
good
know. I
example.
guess I've been a fairly aggressive investor over the years and still am. My wife's the opposite, so that's our balance.
Yin and yang.
Yeah, that's right. So we do have some conservative stuff to appease her to make sure she doesn't lose sleep at night. But I think we've done a pretty good job, and we're not done. So
Yeah.
you're not getting rid of me.
Yeah. We'll keep you around. I'm gonna end with that, Jay. Thank you so much for your time today. I'm gonna stop this recording real quick here. Any closing thoughts?
No, I think this is a great thing that you're doing, Adam. It's a great idea. You're always on the cutting edge, I feel, and I love all the stuff that you're